Harav YCD, welcome back to Yerushalmi Shabbos, and we are holding at Sadi Base Ahmed Aleph. We are up to, I think, Lo Chashin La'ayin V'Le'Me'ayin. Okay, so the Gemara brings a brisa about various lachashim, various things that you say which may have special powers, which are permitted on Shabbos. Okay, so the Gemara in Sanhedrin in Babli also brings various things with various slight differences. So someone who's got some sort of illness in his eyes or his stomach, he's allowed to say these lechashim, these what's the best word to translate? Incantations. Thank you, Anna. In order to heal the person, and also it's permitted to do lenechashim and akravim, various incantations to stop the snakes and scorpions harming the person. Now, maybe the lachash will cause that they can't move, and it's not a problem of Seder. The Torah forbade a natural hunting, but not a sort of segula version of hunting. The Rambam learns, we're talking about someone who's been bitten by a snake, that you're saying the incantation to calm the person down and to strengthen his heart, and that really the incantation doesn't help at all. So it's really just to help him out,
like a mental health thing.
And therefore it would be fitting to forbid it, because you shouldn't really speak b'sicha b'teila, rubbish speech on Shabbos. But the Chachamim allowed it, so the person shouldn't go mad. Okay, so lachashin la'ayin or ma'avirin ala ayin b'Shabbos. Now, putting a vessel on the eye on Shabbos. Now, here this is like to cool it down, or to sort of go around an eye that's a bit swollen with a metal ring so the swelling shouldn't increase. Eating and drinking or any action where there's something in it, like a washing and so on, that's allowed. Okay? If there's nothing in it, like just putting a vessel on an eye, which really doesn't go inside the body, it just sort of cools down the area, maybe stops the swelling. So there's no gezerah, you might start making concoctions of medicines. That doesn't apply in this case. Right? Others learn that they only put a gezerah on something which is through samamonim, where you put spices together. And this one is not the derech at all to use various ground spices. You use just a piece of metal or whatever. Okay, let's carry on. We have a story of Rabbi Akiva. He had this illness in his eye. He put vessels on it on Shabbos in order to heal him. Now we talk about other things which cause death. Rav Chia, Rabba, Turei and Omrin, Rav and Rav Chia the Great, they both said, Tishim v'Tisha, 99 people die, Mesim ba'ayin, they die because of ayin hara. Echad b'dei shamayim, and one will die in the hand of heaven. Now in Bavli the wording is one is derech eretz. It means the same thing. Okay. Rav Chanina, Shmuel, Tervei and Amrin, they both said Tishim v'Tisha b'nisim b'tzina, 99 will die out of cold. Echad b'dei shamayim, and one in the hands of heaven. Sometimes it's negligence. You don't put a coat on when it's cold outside, and they may die of cold. The Bavli brings this in the name of Chanina. In the name of Shmuel, it brings that all the machalas come because of the wind, various winds at various times which cause damage. All right. Rav Amakedate. Rav, according to his reasoning that he had in his town, and Rav Chanina Amakedate, he was speaking according to what he had in his town. Rav, Alidei Davashari Tamam, since he lived there in Bavel, the Aina Bisha Shchicha Tamam, there's more Ain Hara in Bavel. Therefore, Hava Ama, so he said, Tishim v'Tisha Mason ba'Aina, 99 die with Ain Hara, Ba'acha b'dei Shamayim, one in the hands of heaven. Rav Chanina, Al Davashari Tzipon, he lived in Eretz Yisrael. The since the Tamam, which was cold, Hava Ama, so he said, Tishim v'Tisha Mason b'Tzina, 99 die on cold, Ba'acha b'dei Shamayim, and one in the hand of heaven. Rav, it seems the Gemara in Bavli says Rav did do various investigations. He went into a graveyard, and they made this kavir. He seems he worked out all the people in the graveyard what they died from. Anyway, they die out of the hot air. One in the hand of heaven. Through negligence. One in the hands of heaven. Now we bring four interpretations for the pasuk which says Hashem will remove all illnesses. Right, and we bring various opinions. So the four pirushim, it doesn't mean every single illness. Well, the pasuk then carries on, and all the illnesses of Egypt I won't put on you. So the fact that the pasuk says the illnesses of Egypt separate, so Kol Chayli doesn't mean all of them. So Rav Chunya Yaakov, for a time, he said B'Shem Rebbe, V'Heisei Hashem Mivchal Kol Chayli. What does it refer to? Zuz Sreifa. It's like a very big fever. Rav Chuna, the Tanila, and some say B'Shem Rav Elazar ben Yaakov, V'Heisei Hashem Mivchal Kol Chayli, Zu Rayon. It's thoughts of worry and fear which lead to illnesses. Yeah, having not a good temperament and having too much worry and stress leads to various illnesses. The Amar Rav Elazar, he said, "V'nasan al bazel al zavrachel, put an iron yoke on your neck. Zeraya, these are thoughts of worry. Amar Rav Avon, V'Heisei Hashem Mivchal Kol Chayli, Zeyetzer Hara, is the evil inclination. Shoroshe Masek, the head. In the beginning it's sweet, and in the end, the Sofimah, the end is bitter. Rav Tanchum B'Shem Rav Elazar, Rav Lachama B'Shem Rav, V'Heisei Hashem Mivchal Kol Chayli, Zehamara, it's the bile, the bitterness in the bile, which causes various illnesses. Rav Elazar, addition invitation Mason B'Mara, 99 died with bile. Is that the gall as well? Is that right? Ve'achad b'dei Shamayim, and one in the hands of heaven. Now, various things which are not food and drink of healthy people, and you can't eat and drink them on Shabbos because of Isra Refuah, and the things which are food of healthy people, and then on Shabbos it's permitted even if your intention is for Refuah. So we bring a brayso which tells you the various things. You can wash in the big sea of Mei Tveria, the springs of Tveria, even though his intention is for healing. Right? You shouldn't wash in the water where they soak the flax. That's not in the Dead Sea. It's not the derech to wash there, only for refuah, only for medicinal. When do we say that you cannot wash in these things where your intention is for refuah, for healing? But if you want to change your status from impure to pure, then it's permitted. Bilvad shelo yishe, providing that you're allowed to tovel in these waters, providing the condition shelo yishe, you shouldn't stay there too long. If you stay too long, it's noticeable you're doing it for medicinal purposes. Tani, we learned in the Braisa, Sachin alintin l'chaylet v'Shabbos. You can anoint on Shabbos a sick person with alintin, which is a mixture of old wine and clear water and the fasam wine, balsam oil, because even healthy people do this. When is that? When you mixed it well, B'Erev Shabbos. If you didn't mix it well, also it's forbidden. He allowed you to mix it, and to use it to anoint with that mixture for a sick person. And Rameh was ill. The Talmidim wanted us to do this. Didn't let them. He said, Rabbi, the fact that you're forbidding it, you're forbidding halacha l'maaseh. Amalan, he said, even though I would say it's permitted, I didn't want to go against my colleagues, and they forbid it. Halacha dalet. Again, we're talking about various refuahs which are permitted on Shabbos because it's not noticeable you're doing it for medical purposes, and the forbidden ones which are noticeable that you do it for medical purposes. So one has two things. Do not start having vinegar in your mouth to heal the wound. You can dip your vegetables as normal in vinegar, and if that helps, when he's healed, he's healed. One who's got pain in his loins, he should not anoint himself with wine and vinegar, and he can use oil, but not sort of rose oil. The princes, they can do these things. They can use this rose oil because the way of their way to start doing it even on a weekday. Shimon, he said, all the Jewish people should be like princes, and we're all allowed to do it, just like the princes do it. If they do it, then anyone can do it.
Yeah, rules are all very expensive.
He says everyone is ra'oi l'asuch shemen vered for the sake of tanug. Okay. Because it says, kachomas hashinaim v'ke'asha ne'inaim, the pasuk in Mishlei, like vinegar for the teeth and smoke for the eyes. So is the lazy person to the one who sells him. So it's bad. Right? So you see that vinegar is bad for the teeth, and yet ba'atam ha'achin, you're saying that the vinegar heals the teeth. We're talking about the sort of vinegar of other fruit, like the one which is done like cider of some kind, which heals the teeth, whereas the one with wine is bad for the teeth. He says, if you're going to tell me talking about the vinegar like the Mishnah, it's probably wine. But it's not a contradiction, because tavla bishasa is good for bad teeth, or bishla tavasa, but it's bad for good teeth. Tani, we've learned in a brisa, person who has a pain in his teeth on Shabbos, do not swallow, gargle, and spit out vinegar and do the same thing again, because healthy people don't do that. Everyone knows he's doing it for a foot. You're allowed to swish it around in your mouth and swallow it, because healthy people sometimes do this for the sake of eating. Masnisa Amra, our mission says that it's forbidden to have the vinegar in your mouth and swallow it. So Tanina, we've learned our mission. You should not swallow the vinegar. It sounds like it's forbidden to have it, even if you're swallowing it. It doesn't. Even if you swallow it, gargling doesn't help. Even if you're swallowing it. So what's the answer to the contradiction? Rebbe. We could say the Bryce is you like Rebbe, as we'll see soon, who holds that the gargling and swallowing is the way of drinking, even for healthy people. So you're allowed to do it on Shabbos, because it's not noticeable you're doing it for a four. Whereas our Mishnah, which forbids it when you swallow it, is like the Chachamim, who hold that gargling and swallowing is not the way of drinking. Therefore, you're not allowed to do it on Shabbos. Everyone knows why you're doing it. We could say Divrei Kol. That the Bryce is even like everyone. Even the Chachamim who hold gargling is not the way of drinking, and the Bryce you're allowed to do it is b'megamea gamei chometz achatibula. You're having the vinegar after you've dipped a food. You dipped your foods and so on in this vinegar. So even the Chachamim agree healthy people do this. It calms your mind, right? Therefore, this sort of gargling is permitted on Shabbos. It's not noticeable for refuah, and our Mishnah is talking about before the dipping, where it's not the way of healthy people, according to the Chachamim. That's why it's forbidden on Shabbos. Now, we mentioned the various arguments between Rebbe and the Chachamim. Is swallowing vinegar, gargling and swallowing, is it the way of drinking? Now we're talking about other dinim that apply to eating and drinking in an unusual way. One who chews wheat of truma, a zar, let's say Yisrael, who has raw wheat kernels of truma, like he gets lashes. One who swallows vinegar of truma intentionally, like he gets lashes. Right? Tani, we learned one who swallows vinegar of truma by mistake, you pay the principal and not the fifth. It's considered drinking in an unusual way. One who chews wheat, raw wheat of truma, again you pay the main thing, the principal, but not the fifth. Rabbi said, I think you should pay the main bit and the fifth. The Chacham agreed to Rebbe b'megame with a zar who sort of puts in his mouth b'shoigeg chometz shel truma achatibulai, vinegar of truma after he's dipped foods in truma shalom k'hem. Then you definitely pay the full principal on the fifth. It restores your soul. When you have it after dipping, it helps you a bit calm down and so on. And people do this sort of thing, and that's considered the way of drinking. Now, any illness which is from the lips and inside the body, merapin, you're allowed to heal Osa Shabbos because it's considered Chilul Shabbos, because it's considered dangerous, right? So you can break Shabbos for it. Anything within the body. We said if you've got pain, tooth pain, you cannot have the vinegar on Shabbos. Now, surely the tooth is from inside the lips; it's inside the body. He didn't say this in the name of Rabbi Bar, according to the nusach they had, that anything from inside the lips is okay. And Rabbi Zeira, b'shem Rabbi Bar, Bazavda, he had another nusach. Anything inside the internal cavity of the body, v'lifnim, merapin, you're allowed to heal. Anything, because that's got danger. So it's basically, tooth is not included in the cavity of the body. Rabbi Zeira, Rabbi Bar Zutra, Rabbi Chanina, b'shem Rabbi, Malin etzem shel rosh b'Shabbos. You can restore on Shabbos the sort of skull bone which has gone a bit out of place, you could put it back. Rav Chia bar Madya, Rav Yoina, Rav Zeira, V'shem Rabbi bar Zutra, Rav Chanina, V'shem Rabbi. Malin b'nois oznaim b'Shabbos. You can restore some of the tendons of the ear that have come out of place to their fixed place, because that's pretty dangerous if you don't. Taman Amrin, in Bava they said, B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan, Ayin Shemarta Marapin. Also an eye, literally an eye that's rebelled. It means it's gone out of its place, like a servant who rebels and leaves his place, right? With strong eyes, strong pains, and it might just come out somehow. So again, you're allowed to marapin, you can heal it Osim Shabbos. Rav Shem Rav Yochanan, Gabas Yadayim, if a wound on the back of the hand, right, on the back of the palm, Gabas Raglayim, a wound on the leg, sakana, they might be a danger, you're allowed to heal them on Shabbos even though they're not inside the body. Rav Shem Rav Yochanan, Nahan Simuka, this sort of redness in the eye is sakana, is danger. Rav Avan, like to lie, we can detach for this person, Aikes Akrab Shabbos, the part of the scorpion on Shabbos. Basically, this helps with refuah. What about putting liquids on the eye on Shabbos? Rav Amai said, Ahon Chamra, wine for refuah of the eyes, Laba min aina, outside the eye. Basically, on the eye outside, shari is permitted. Legab min aina also, but to put it in the eye, that's forbidden. Shmuel Ami said, Ahen right taruk, right tafel. So this is saliva of someone who's not slept that day. You've woken up, that first saliva, which can be used for refuah for the eyes. You shouldn't put it on the outside the eye on Shabbos. From these dinim we see these eye illnesses are not usually sakana. We learn there's also a type of boil in the eye. You cannot heal it on Shabbos. Now, what about other things we're allowed to do healing on Shabbos, which is dangerous? One of the Kisrin Amri, they said Hada Uda Ana, a machla, which is like it's called a frog, but it's some sort of frog illness or whatever it is. Sakana is dangerous. You can heal with it. Rav Chizkiya Avaya Sherabana de Kisrin Hada Achshmanisa. This other illness, which is called Achshmanisa Sakana, that's pretty dangerous. It's like Hadoga Mata. The thing is called cold, but it's a type of illness. Sakana, that is also dangerous, and you're allowed to heal it on Shabbos. You can put on the Gumras illness chametz on Pesach, and that's how it helps. Although chametz on Pesach is forbidden to get benefit, you're allowed to use it for healing. Hahan bala. So this is like a bone or something else that you swallowed and it's got stuck in my person's throat. Shoy mipakte b'shubsa. One's allowed to take it out on Shabbos because it's not considered Maser Refuah. The Mishnah says this. Machal shal yad, you have a needle, you can use it to take a thorn out, which has got stuck in your body. Now, so you see, you're allowed to take something which is absorbed and got stuck, you can take it out. If you wouldn't say this, but then you can't take it out, ma ben kais, ma ben bala. What's the difference between a thorn, which you're looking to take it out, and something absorbed and stuck in your throat? Well, you can't take it out. Surely it's the same. But we say, basically, just like you're allowed to take the thorn out on Shabbos, you're also allowed to take something stuck in your throat. But this illness of like the eyes being a bit blurred, and he says, Rebbe came before you, ask him. He allowed it. If you tell them, he says, I also allow it. Which is an illness, sivduna, which is some sort of illness of the teeth. Sakana, that is dangerous, and one can heal it on Shabbos. Rav Yochanan had to say, Cain. Rav Yochanan had this illness of sivduna. He was getting healing from the daughter of the army, the officer of the area, whose name was Domitianus from Severia. So it was a high-grading sort of Roman person, and his daughter was healing this Rav, right? Ba'aruvza and Erev Shabbos, B'pesi Rumsha, close to getting Shabbos, Salik Legabe. She went to him, Amalai says, Mizrachana Klum Lamacha, do I need to do anything for my medicine tomorrow? Amalai, she said, Lie, you don't need to, but in Sarachta, if you want to do something, do this. Suv Galini to Tamrin, take the pips of the dates, but Valgenia Kidon, which are half a bit burnt, Vistamrin, and some say, the Niklavas, like the pips of Niklavas, which is again with the half half, v'or desarin, and sort of shells of barley, v'tzayat imyanot kivesha, and excrement dry of a child, shechaik, and you grind it all together, utzvail, make a spread out of it on the area of the wound, and don't tell this to anyone, she tells him. Lemacha, what does he do? He tells everyone this is a refuah, where she told him not to tell everyone. Isdarmin, some say, when she found out that he told everyone, the chanak hasnafshe. Some say she choked herself out of pain. Isdarmin, some say that she became Jewish. Ashramina class, we learn three things from here. Ashramina han sifduna sakana. We learn that sifduna is dangerous. You're allowed to heal with it in Shabbos, even if it's Kol Shabbos. But Ashramina, we learn that kol shum min asafa v'lifnim, anything from the lips inside, merapid, so we're allowed to heal it. But Ashramina, we also work out ahud ama, that which you said Riyaka Baracham Shem Rabbi Yechanan, that although it's forbidden for a chayla v'sukkah to be healed from Ovid Kachavim, because a guy might kill him. But if it was a doctor who was a craftsman, then mutter, you're allowed to do the healing. Yeah. So say this woman was an expert in this field, so you were allowed to get her to heal him. Levi Habalei Kulus. He had an illness called Kulus. They told him, Rav Chanina Rav Yonasan, Mishchak Tachlusin B'Shubsa, to grind to grind cress on Shabbos. And put it into old wine. And then he can drink it, and it won't be dangerous for him. Okay. Barbarei, the grandson of Rabbi Levi, Habalei Bala, he had a thing stuck in his throat. Now comes along a person, whispers to him a formula with the name of one of the engines of Tumah, and he included the name of Yeshu Pandira, which is a symbol of Avodah Zarah. Be'insham, and he got healed. Kadnafik, when the person, this person went out, Amalei, Rashub ben Levi said to the one doing the formula, Man lechashtalei, what did you say to him? Amalei says, Milas plan, this is what I said. He told him exactly what he'd said. Amalei says, Niach Habalei, it would have been better, Ilo Havamais, it would have been better had he died, rather than say this lachash and get healed through something which is an emblem of Avodah Zarah. But Habalei came, and sure enough, that's what happened. The grandson of Shmuel Levi, he died. Because when a tzaddik says a gzeira, kishgaga, shiyatzav l'fnei hashalit. It's like a shgaga that's gone out, a mistake that's gone out. The mistake is still a mistake at the end of the day. Yeah, and surely he didn't intend to curse him. The chod already healed. He said it's better if from the beginning he wouldn't be healed in this way. But those words came true. Because when a tzaddik says something, it happens. He's in charge of the bria. Yeah. And sometimes the things happen even if it's not their intention. Okay. Now, before we've learned about getting healing from Avodah Zarah, Rabbi Yaakov bar Edi b'shem Rabbi Yonasan, but Kol Misrapin, you're allowed to use, if it's dangerous, you can use healing anything, even something else about no, because nefesh pushes everything away. Chutz ma'Avodah Zarah, apart from Avodah Zarah, we get a rayos, shechus damim, and immorality and murder. But Pinchas Boy, he says, Ad Kadon, I understand you can't heal for Avodah Zarah, because when the doctor told him, Havili E'alim, bring me leaves, Avodah Zarah, bring me Avodah Zarah leaves to heal. The Havili brought these leaves. That's forbidden. The doctor gave a koyach to the Avodah Zarah, and you can't use the Avodah Zarah. But if the doctor said, Havili E'alim stam, just bring me leaves without saying where from, Avodah Zarah, and he brought him from Avodah Zarah, what's the din? Do we say it's still forbidden? Or maybe it's permitted? We learn from the following. He had some fever. They brought him water on the base of a well, which went through Avodah Zarah, which his name was Duri. But Shasta, he drank it. Rav Acha, he also had this illness. They brought him, he didn't drink for it. Amar Ramana, the son of Rabbi Yonah, said, Ilu Yada Rabbi Yonah, Abba. If Rabbi Yonah, my father, had known where this water came from, he would not have drunk it. So you see, you shouldn't get benefit healing from avodah zarah, even if the doctor just said, "Bring me leaves," because here there was no proper command to bring water for avodah zarah. Because Rav Yoina thought it's not water for avodah zarah, and even so, Rabbana said, had we known it was avodah zarah, he would never have drunk it. Amr Rav Chuna, Masnisa Amra. There's a brayso who says, "Ken she'ein misrapin begin our rice." You cannot get healing from avodah zarah. V'tani we learned if huta michal Shabbos, like huta michal nar marasa. There are situations which are permitted as far as Shabbos is concerned, but not as far as the issur of relationship with the nar marasa. Huta michal Shabbos v'loy lisrapos. That when the brayso says the things which are permitted to break Shabbos, it means you want to get healed. Chodesh yesh bo sakana. You can break Shabbos for it. Similarly, when it says you want to do healing from Chodesh Yesh Bo Sakana, and maybe there's some sort of love situation with a girl who is betrothed, and therefore he may end up being Sakana, was not allowed to heal oneself from the illness by a relationship with this girl. Bryce is Muchach, like the words of Yonason, they are not allowed to get healed from Gid HaRois. Lo so Dava, now the din that you mustn't get healing from Gid HaRois is only in case where Sha'am where the Chayla, the sick person, tells someone, Havali Eishasish, bring me a married woman, I can be with her, and if not, I'll die. And not only that, Ela Fidel Ishmael's Kali, he just wants to hear her voice. Kahadol, like the following, Had Banash Recham Isa, this person loved a woman, Biyomaj Rabalaza, in the days of Rabbi Elazar, Vasachan, he became dangerously ill. Asked Shalele, they asked Rabbi Elazar, can she go in front of me and I'll live? He said, you must let him die, and rather than doing this, the woman should walk in front of him. Ma Yishma Kala, is he allowed at least to hear her voice to calm him down? She said, Rabbi Elazar said, Yamos, he should die, and don't do this. That he should hear her voice. Mahavos, what was this woman in this story? Was she married, not married? Rabbi Yaakov once said Eishasish, she was Eishasish. Chana once said Panoya, she was unmarried. Madam Eishasish Nicha. The one who said she was married, I understand. Right? That we don't allow her to go in front of him even though he'll die, because she was forbidden to him. Isa ever. Madam, according to the one who said Panoya, that she was not yet married. He loved one woman in the days of Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Elazar allowed her to go in front of him, not like what we said. It must be, to answer the stereo between the two din of Rabbi Elazar, you have to say, Khan, here it's talking about the story of the Panuya. She wasn't married. Rabbi Elazar allowed her to go in front of him, whereas Khan, the first story is Ba'isha Sir, she was a married woman, and therefore Rabbi Elazar said it's forbidden for her to go in front of him. Yeah? I feel that you're going to tell me Kamba Panuya. Both cases talking about a woman who's not married. Tifta, we can explain. The dinner of Rabbi Elazar, the first story, you can't go in front of him. Talking about he thought about her when she was still married, and then the husband died or got divorced. So since he loved her, until when she was, forbidden to him, so Rabbi Elazar said she can go in front of him. Since he loved her at the time when she was forbidden to him, so that's why Rabbi Elazar forbade it. Right. And the story about Kocha Nagra is talking about someone who wanted to marry Isha who was Panuya, right, not married, and therefore Rabbi Elazar allowed her to walk in front of him. Is to my moment, some say that the first story where Rabbi Elazar forbade it is her Rabbi Havas. She was a big woman, important woman, Lema Nasva, and she would never agree to marry him. Whatever he would do, it was Be'isur. You cannot see a woman to get benefit, not for the sake of Nisuin. But in Kam, and that's why he forbade her to go in front of him. Whereas the story of Bar Kocha, Nagra, she wasn't important. She might agree to marry him. And that's why Rabbi Elazar allowed her to go in front of him, well, because it's permitted for him to see her before he gets married. Aroch Hanina, Masnisa Amra, the Mishnah says, is rapid you cannot get healing through killing someone. The Tanina Taman, we've learned in Arlis. Now this is talking about you got a child inside a mother, and the child is danger to both. Yatsa Ruba, if the majority of the child is born, Ein Nagin, we don't kill the child to save the mother. You can't kill one soul for another. Not only you can't get healing from murder, but also when one tells the second one, Harag is planning to kill so and so, I'll kill you. I definitely can't kill the second one to save himself. And I feel even if one said Chamois is planning, steal from so and so, or I'll kill you. That's also forbidden to steal from the second one to save himself. Now, so you can't steal to save himself from death, because you'll end up fighting over the money and you'll end up being killed. But you're trying to save your money, and it might lead to murder. Okay? Wamsha is a gazel. We should forbid to be Meiser Nefesh. There's Rameh and Bavli. It's like Noteles Nafshe. It's like he's taking his soul. It's a Bizrayu of murder. The halacha Issa Gezel is not included amongst the Averas where you have to be Meiser Nefesh for it. Yeah, we don't pass it like that. But nevertheless, you shouldn't save yourself by stealing or damaging someone else's money or whatever it is. Yeah? Unless the guy was going to pay out, whatever it is. Okay. Right, we're up to here now. Yeah. Tani we've learnt. Is that where we are? Yeah. Tani we've learnt. Oved Kechavim, who saves himself through killing an Oved Kechavim, killing another Oved Kechavim, or Oved Kechavim, who saves himself by killing Israel, Chayav is liable. Israel, who saves himself through killing of an Oved Kechavim, then he is Pasul from Misa. Right? Even though Israel is not allowed to kill Oved Kechavim to save himself, but still, to save himself is permitted. In order to save himself, it's permitted. All right. Israel, Oved Kechavim, Pasul. Now, we bring a brisa. A woman who's having difficulty giving birth, and most of the child has been born. We don't kill the child to save the mother. Can we save the soul of the adult through the soul of the child? Surely it's the Mishnah. We learned Yatsa Robin, once the majority of the child is born, we don't kill the child to save the mother. We don't kill one for another. So my answer to Rav Yisrael Shani Taman is different than the Mishnah. We don't know if each one is chasing the other. We don't know which one is the victim more than the other. So therefore you can't kill the child to save the mother. Whereas the story of Rav Chisda, the child was running after the older one to kill him, and therefore there's the question if you're allowed to kill him to save the soul of the adult or not. And the Gemara remains with the question. He was bitten by a poisonous snake. Yaakov came along. In the name of this Yeshu to heal him, he'll do some sort of lachash, whatever it is, including the name of Yeshu, which is the Himmel of Avodah Zarah. Yishmael didn't allow him. So Dama said to Yishmael, Ani may be Raya, my Torah I can give a proof from the Torah is permitted. Lo Hisbik. He didn't manage to bring a right. Then he died. Woe, happy are you, Ben Dam, you left the world in peace. You didn't break down the barriers of the Chachamim when they use the names of Avodah Zarah. The one who breaks the words of the Chachamim will be bitten by a snake. Now, from Yishmael we learn that Ben Dama, he didn't go against the words of the Chachamim, and he was saved from a snake biting him, which is the punishment for someone who goes against the words of the Chachamim. Thank you. He could have been healed. I mean, why did Yishmael say, because he wasn't healed from the lachash, he was saved from another biting. Just like he was mitzrape from this biting of this snake. I mean, he could have been healed from other snakes. So he said it doesn't mean he was saved from a snake biting in this world. He won't be bit by the snake in the next world. Now we come to the words of Ben Dama, who said that he had an ability to bring a raya from a pasuk that you're allowed to heal from this person by mentioning the name of Avodah Zarah. What should Ben Dama say? What pasuk could he bring to prove that it's permitted? So he wanted to bring a raya from the pasuk which says like this: "You shall keep my statutes, which a person does, you'll live with them." So we see that a person should live through the mitzvahs of the Torah, not to die with them, right? And the Gemara brings machlokes between Tanakam and Rav Shimon. If people who are not Bnei Melachim, right, the princes who are not princes, if they're not princes, can they use anointing this rose oil on their wounds? Rabbi Baba Azavda Rav Shimon, Rabbi Lachim Rav Shimon, that everyone is allowed to do it. If the princes do it, everyone can do it. So like it, if you don't say that, you're going to say like the Tanakama, that it's only for princes. That's not true. Minas on Shemen Vered La'ani. If you would give the rose oil to the poor man, he wouldn't anoint with it. V'lo sach, would he not anoint with it? He definitely would. So everyone does it. Arazi, Rabbi Yossi, Chacham Rebbe the Bapadaya. It does Rav. Do you know Bapadaya? Do you know him that you're saying things in his name? Amalei says Rabbi Yochanan Amrin. Rabbi Yossi said Rabbi Yochanan Amrin. Rabbi Yochanan said it Mishmai in his name, and I heard it from Rabbi Yochanan, and therefore I can rely on him that he really said it. Rav Zira, Rabbi Baba Zapta, Chacham Rebbe the Rav. Did you know yourself, Rav? You're saying things in his name. Amalei says he said to him. Rabbi Ba said Rabbi Ada Ba'achva Amrin. Rabbi Ba'achva said it Mishmai in the name of Rav. I heard it from the mouth of Rabbi Barachva, and I rely on him that definitely he must have said it. A few more lines? Edu Kesharin Shechayavin Aleim. These are the knots that you are liable. Kesha Gamalin. The knots that they do. This is 15th parak, yeah? The knots that the camel drivers do when they put it in the nostrils of the camel. The Kesha Saponin, or the boat sailors, the ring that they do with the rope, which is connecting the boat to, they put it connected to the boat. They tie the rope. Because these are not made to be opened up, and therefore they're considered kesher shel kayama. Just like you're liable for tying these knots, you're liable for undoing them. Reb Meir said, if you can undo it in one hand, then you're not liable. Edu Kusharim, the following knots. Makashir host of Mishkan. One knots was in the Mishkan. Trei Koshin as a Mesarim. Now they would tie, when they camped, the pegs of the urios, of the coverings, to pegs in the ground to keep them in place. So now surely this was temporary, because they would undo them to take apart the Mishkan whenever they needed to travel. So it didn't really last. Look, they followed Hashem's instruction. It's like it was eternal. They're subservient to Hashem. They're going to just stay here. Once they camp, they don't know when they're going to move again. Right? Now, you could say that it's a raya the other way around. It's not Kesher Shedim Eskaim. It's like maybe you have a fixed time. I mean, if you don't know when you'll do it or not, what is this? Here, sometimes it's Shal Kayama because they'll mevatel their das. They say, whatever Hashem tells us, that's what we will do. Rabbi Yosef Ribon, the Kivan Sheftichon Amokim, since Hashem promised them, Shu Machnisan La is going to take them into the land, Kamishul Ailam is as if the nothing was forever. Now, he's asking, was it forever? It wasn't forever. Because Hashem knew they were going to go to Eretz Yisrael, so these things were definitely not forever. So if that's the case, the question comes back, what Kesha was Shal Kayama? Amra Pinchas, from the actual deeds of the Tofra Urias, the people who stitched the Urias together, Lamdu. We learn from them about the Melach of Kosher and Matir. Because Nirsak, if one of the threads broke, Kosher, you would tie it and carry on sewing. And that's the source for Kosher. If that thread cut again, somewhere else, you wouldn't tie it a second time. Because La'asaisan, to make the Urias, Kasharim, you can't have knots. It doesn't look very nice, many knots in the stitching. You undo the first one, and you throw that piece away, and you tie in the end the heads of the threads which are remaining, and that's what you do, and that's the source for the melacha of matir. So you would sort of untie that first bit and throw it away and tie again the other ends. A good craftsman can hide the two ends of the thread within the stitch. He doesn't have to tie them at all. And these craftsmen also would do this. Surely they were doing this when this happened. So why is the source then from Lachav Kosher? He said from the knots which were tied, they all go Yerias, from those who were weaving together the covers of the Mishkan Lamdu. We learn from there. Right? But what's the source for this? The length of the Yeriah sounds like the thread of the Tefirah. It has to be long enough. It has to be one, all woven together. And it was 28 amas in wool and linen, and 30 amas with the izim, with the goat's hair. Not that you do it bits and sew them together. So you needed long threads. And for that reason, Nisak, if the thread would break, Hayakosha, you would tie a knot. And that's the source from Lachas Kosher. Now he says, Mekivan Shu Megia the Orig. Now at the end, at the time they're weaving, you might have a knot. Let's say in the middle of the weaving. You would sort of undo the knot after the weaving, and then you would put the threads into the weave. Basically, you don't want them in the middle of the weave. And this is the source from Lachas Mateh. Rav Tanchuma b'shem Rav Chuna, Afina Arev Sheba. Even each one of the areas where it's not so noticeable, you didn't have like one connection. You definitely not in the chassis. You didn't have these threads in there sticking out. There were noticeable. You wouldn't have these knots and things because it would stick out a lot. Tanya Rav Osher, we learned from Rosh Hashanah Brisa, which is a basket which is made from leaves of shal tamarim, of date leaves, ubetilaya, and a basket which is woven from wicker from willow leaves, shal tamarim, of dates. Kareah mate, you can open it up, tear it, and undo it, and break it apart. Right, it's stuck together. You can break it apart to undo the rope. But don't tie it up again, the lid, after you have used it. Okay, we will stop here, Rabbi.